Hi, this is Angel Ribo with Mindalia TV, and we are super excited today to have with us Teresa de Grosbois. Hi Teresa, how are you?
I'm wonderful, it's great to be here.
Absolutely, thank you. Thank you for being here with us. So that you know, Teresa de Grosbois is the #1 best-selling author and founder and chair of the Evolutionary Business Council. And I would like to start our conversation tonight, Teresa, asking you, what's that thing that keeps you up at night?
Wow, that's a great question. What's that thing that keeps me up at night? I would say very little keeps me up at night. I actually, I hit the pillow and I go right to sleep. But I do notice that sometimes the universe just sends me messages in the middle of the night, and I've learned to get up and write them down. And it's interesting that if you get up and write down what's coming to you in the middle of the night, sometimes there's some awesome gold there. The last thing that came to me really powerfully in the middle of the night was actually a poem that I wrote for the EBC, and I decided I'm putting it out on the EBC's birthday, which is coming up in a couple weeks.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Thank you for allowing us to be the channel to get to know that amazing new.
Yeah.
So what has been throughout the years, you've had an amazing personal journey. How did that journey start for you?
I actually came out of the oil and gas industry in Canada, and like a lot of people, I was a little bit handcuffed by having a really great job. It's very easy to go out and build your dream life if you're leaving a job that sucks. You have a good job, you can actually get stuck there. But I had a year which I now affectionately call my really bad year, where in the first 6 months of that year, my father had passed away, my marriage had ended, my business at the time had failed, my health was in a total tailspin. And I remember that the only thing I was really clear about at that time was how deeply unhappy I was. And there was actually one night, I'm sitting in the bathroom of my new condo, post-marriage breakup, literally tears streaming down my face. I'm looking at all the tools around me, because I've always been a renovator, and this bathroom's gonna be my latest project. And the only thought in my mind is, it's me that needs renovating. It's me. So it was such a beautiful moment, because it was the moment I decided I'm going to be my next project. So I started doing every self-help course under the sun. I went back, I did a whole certificate in mediation. I got a lot more serious about my yoga and my health. And over the course of the subsequent couple of years, my life completely shifted. I quit my job at the time. I decided to start a charity, wrote 3 kids' books to raise money for that charity. And then a couple of really cool things happened. The first was I quickly realized I didn't like being a children's author or running a charity. The second was I had dozens of people coming at me saying, 3 bestsellers in 8 months, how the heck did you do that? And that got me present to, there's a different path out there for me. And that's how I chose what I'm doing now.
What does influence represent in your life, Teresa?
Influence represents the ability to impact. It's funny because a lot of us have influence closely tied with narcissism. A lot of people are afraid to step into influence and leadership because their negative self-talk, their self-sabotage gets in the way. And really, the main reason I wrote Mass Influence was because I wanted good people, everyday heroes, to get that becoming influential isn't only easy, it's important. Because if we really want to cause change in the world and leave a better world to our children, we need to learn how to influence change.
I guess there's many different types of influence, right?
It all comes down to all of us already have influence, right? Your kids take your advice occasionally, that's influence. You recommend a movie to a neighbor, that's influence. Where influence really changes is when we start stepping away from a one-on-one conversation into a one-to-many conversation. That's where mass influence starts. And by that I mean people just get present to their own self-sabotage, that people stop doubting their own abilities and their own skills, and they start to realize that it's their own negative self-talk that's stopping them from living the kind of lives they lead. So my goal is that those principles, transformational principles, reach 1.2 billion people by the year 2020 by helping 1,200 emerging leaders or change agents each reach 1 million people with their messages.
That's a lot.
It is. It's also the tipping point for planet Earth. And that's what the EBC stands in, that we can actually, one YouTube channel, one Facebook page, one Twitter account, one email list at a time, actually cause a different paradigm for how we live on Earth.
Among the millions of viewers that Mindalia TV and television has, many are entrepreneurs. How could we help them increase this influence?
Well, I think the first thing is recognizing that playing bigger, being influential, is not harder, it's actually easier. You know, a lot of entrepreneurs become a slave to their own calendar, and if you find yourself in this scenario where you're trading your hours for dollars and you're trying to think how to expand your business, but you don't have any more hours to book out, you're essentially self-employed in that scenario, and you're not using your influence to the greatest potential. You know, when you can start to come into a one-to-many conversation and reach more people at once, it's actually far simpler. You take the lid off your company, you can impact a lot more positive change. You can actually affect people's lives in a much more meaningful way.
And does your book talk about that?
Absolutely. One of the reasons I wrote Mass Influence was I wanted regular people, everyday heroes, to understand that influence is a skill that can be learned. When you look at the highly influential, they all have habits that they tend to do. There's mistakes that people tend to run into when they're dealing with the highly influential. And when you could just learn the habits and avoid the mistakes, really that's all it takes.
What can someone expect when they buy your book, Teresa?
It reads a little bit like a cross between a novel and a tell-all and a do list. You know, what they can expect is that they'll have some great insights, but it's going to take them getting into action until you actually start doing some of the things in the book and putting them into practice, which is pretty easy. Then their lives will change. That's one of the reasons I created the 30-Day Influence Challenge, which is a companion piece to my book. It's a complimentary program that I put out. It's just quick little 2-minute-a-day exercises you can do that help you, exercise the influence muscle. It's so much easier than most people realize.
Where can we find both the book and this amazing 30-day challenge that you just mentioned?
If you go to massinfluencethebook.com, that's massinfluencethebook.com, you can actually get a complimentary copy of the book. We still give the digital versions away for free on Amazon and iTunes and Kobo. You can get all the links there. And the link to sign up for the 30-Day Influence Challenge is right there.
We've mentioned several times during the interview the Evolutionary Business Council. Who belongs to the Evolutionary Business Council?
You know, it's really a community for the people who want to create change in the world. So it's emerging thought leaders, it's teachers, speakers, podcasters, television hosts, documentary makers, people who are working to influence the way people think in a more positive way.
How easy is it to find the Evolutionary Business Council?
You just come to ebcouncil.com. That's all it takes.
That's it?
Yeah.
I would like to actually end the conversation with you giving a piece of advice to our audience. You really pick what you would like to have our audience stay. What would be that thought, that idea that you would like everyone to remember from Teresa de Grosbois?
I would have to say, take some action toward your dreams. Even if it's just 7 minutes a day, do something where you lean into the life you wish you had, the life you really want. Because until you take action toward your dreams, you're just dreaming.
Excellent. Well, Teresa, thank you very much for being with us today.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
We really appreciate it. And again, Angel Ribo with Mindalia TV, and thank you very much for being with us today.